Hello everyone and welcome. It's the Black Shadow here. Be keeping yourselves fairly well. Welcome to this winter update for the channel. I wanted to wait until Silent Hill F was finished with our time in Ebisugaoka. However, life has also kind of been pretty busy for me the past week or so, keeping myself away from channel activities, which is the way it goes sometimes. But now that's done and dusted, it's time for us to kind of look ahead to what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year, and then pushing on into January and especially February with the release of a certain game in a few months or so. I will get there, don't worry about that. The first place, though, I should really start is going to be our time spent in Silent Hill F. The long and short of it is I'm very glad that I spent the time that I did in order to, into this series. I'm really glad that it exists. I had a lot of fun with it. And I think the survival horror genre as a whole, especially recently, is a better place for this game actually existing. I'm glad that when I first saw this at that showcase a couple of years or so ago, that I did put my faith into the game, hoping that it would be something different, but something really cool. And that's exactly what it was. I think aesthetically it looks great. Just the environment, the fusion of different types of horror, I think is really, really cool. It's not a game without a couple of minor flaws, which I can't say don't exist. I do think the game is maybe a little bit too slow to kind of really get going. And I think that is very much tied into the fact that you do have to beat the game 3 times if you actually want to get a proper ending out of it. And certainly the first ending you get out of the game is pretty unsatisfactory. I would perhaps argue maybe deliberately so. This is me trying to avoid spoilers in case you haven't seen this series yet. But I will say that it's very clear from the first ending that it wants you to replay this game, which is a bit ambitious, I feel. Certainly, there's a lot of people nowadays that would struggle to find the time to beat this game once, let alone beat it 3 separate times. And that third one is kind of pretty much the same as the second until you get to the last quarter of the game. So, if that was the developers trying to get people to maximize the hours people spend on this game, I'd say that was pretty, I don't want to say greedy, but it's asking a lot of your player base. And if that was a decision by the the designers, the people doing the story of that, I would say that that's at best very ambitious. And maybe was a little bit too ambitious, but all in all, it's minor pickings. The game is really good. I'm glad I did the series. I'm glad I spent the time doing all the endings and showing everything that this game has to do. And yeah, I really had a lot of fun doing it and recording it, and I'm just glad that folks enjoyed it as well. So thank you for those that joined along for the journey. Not everyone stayed for the endings beyond the first one, but that's okay. I totally get it. Again, this is a big game. So that does mean that we do not have any currently active YouTube series, which will be changing shortly. But let's look ahead a little bit and cast our gaze to the fairly close now release of Resident Evil Requiem, due out February 27th, the latest installment in the mainline franchise. I have booked 2 whole weeks off from my place of employment to allow me to sit down, record, play, and upload this game fairly uninterrupted. This is, I think, quite an important title for the mainline series, especially as Resident Evil has had a history of, what's the best way to describe this? It kind of goes a bit in freeze in regards to the main kind of overarching storylines and the themes that are going on. So Resident Evil 1, 2, 3 was based around Raccoon City, and of course the release of the TNG viruses. Resident Evils 4, 5, and 6 were dotted around the place, to put it mildly, but largely revolving around the Plaga parasites. And then you have Resident Evil 7 onwards, which is much more about the mold infections that originated in the Baker residence, continuing on. But there's definitely themes of kind of uncovering, seedy underbellies of organizations and all that sort of stuff, which was definitely hinted at with the 8th game. There has been a variety of things said in the net regarding what this game may or may not cover, some of which I think makes sense, some of it's it's not the decision I would have taken, but I'm going to largely not get involved in that at this time. But regardless, I will have the time off. I will be, of course, playing and recording this on release, and I am very, very much looking forward to it. I hope that it delivers, and I hope that I just enjoy the game. There's a few things I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Am I going to play the game in first or third person, stuff like that? Am I going to interchange? I don't know. I think I'm probably just going to play the game in third person, most likely. I think as much as like Resident Evil 7, for example, is like possibly one of my favorite Resident Evil games of all time, and that was first person. I feel like a game like this might suit the third person perspective more. I'll see how we go. It's minor things, but regardless, it should be a good jaunt. But of course, this is over 3 months away. We've got a bit of time to kill until then. So that brings us to what it is I want to do until February. I'm kind of in a spot where I don't want to get my teeth into like a really big, heavy series over the winter. My time's going to be a little bit touch and go, truth be told. And also, Silent Hill F was kind of a meaty game, I'm not going to lie. It was a bigger game than I thought. So I think it'd be better off probably focusing on sort of shorter series just for the time being. While there are also a couple of things that I want to get involved in on my own front, I think this might be a good chance for me to kind of go through a list of outstanding titles that I do have that have been recommended to me, mainly via my Patreon series over on that, which I'm very much appreciative of everyone that has spent any time or money either previously or currently. You've been far too kind to me, I feel like, sometimes. But there is a list of games that have been suggested to me by folks that have supported me for quite a long time on that, and I haven't been very good at actually getting through the list, so that is going to be the target over the course of this. And the first one that I'm going to be doing is going to be taking us back to the year of 1999. This is a recommendation courtesy of Brittleback, who has been a long time supporter of the channel. I hugely appreciate all the support you've given me. And we're going to be taking on the series that I've never actually played before, but I'm aware of my fair share of it at the very least, and that is the Syphon Filter series, specifically the first and second games. Syphon Filter, from 1999, it's a third-person shooter game, a little bit of kind of stealth action, a bit of puzzle solving, that sort of stuff. That was developed by Eidetic and published by SCE back in '99. The game itself had quite a troubled development cycle, actually. It was almost cancelled a variety of times because the company itself, Eidetic, was quite new at the time, and definitely struggled to kind of get everything together. Once they got it released, they had a huge hit on them, so much so that the series has actually spawned a variety of games. I think there's about like 6 separate games in the series, which is wild. That have released from PlayStation 1. I think there was some PlayStation 2 titles. I think there was even stuff on the PSP as well. But my focus is going to be on the original 2 games that were done by 989 Studios in North America. As I said, I've never actually played the series myself, but definitely very much aware of it. It's kind of amazing that I've never actually played these games, in all honesty, and that's something that I ought to really correct. So I'll thank Brittleback for his suggestion, and this is the next series, I suppose I should say, that I'll be looking to do over the next sort of, 4 to 6 weeks, probably, I imagine. If I can get both games done by the end of the new year, I will happily take that. Next up on the chopping block after that is going to be a game that I have played before, though it's been some time since I last did it, and that is going to be a continuation of a series that I have done a little bit of as well on the channel, and that is going to be Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, also from 1999. It was a good year for video gaming, I tell you. This is a recommendation courtesy of CJ, long-time supporter and viewer of the channel. Hugely appreciate everything you've done in regards to that. I did do a series on Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon a few years or so ago. Spyro 3, definitely, I think, the best of the whole lot going. But I also played the first and second games as well. Spyro 1 is very much a game that kind of was a bit of a test bed, and you can feel it's very early in the series. Spyro 2 kind of expanded a lot of what you ended up doing in the game in regards to stuff that you could do with Spyro, also establishing some of the kind of the wider universe characters as well. A lot of them would then appear in the third game as well. However, I'm not going to be playing the original version of this. I am going to be playing this via the HD Remaster Collection that was released not all that long ago. I did a stream of Spyro 3 for some tech testing, and honestly, it's fantastically well done, and I figured it was only fair for me to spend some time with that. So I'm going to be playing Spyro 2 via the Remaster Collection, and this will be probably starting at the beginning of the new year. That's going to be the plan, at least, and I like to think that those 3 series should be enough for me to work through, and that should largely fill the gap between now and the end of February. It gives me about 3 months to get all 3 done. I'd like to think that I can achieve that. Now, if we do get a little bit of extra time by the time I play these 3, then I'll definitely have to throw something in beforehand. But I am conscious of over-promising at this stage of my time on YouTube. As I've mentioned before, I'm someone definitely that doesn't have as much time on my hands to do this sort of thing currently than I used to. And definitely I feel back to like some of the earlier days, certainly like a couple of years in, when I was having like daily uploads. You know, sometimes I was stages, but I was having 2 uploads a day on this channel, and that is not the world I currently occupy right now. That is not going to be the case. So I'm trying to sort of like bite-size a little bit and say, you know, we've got these 3 little series. I'll get these done. We'll get them over the next couple of months or so. If we can get it all done early, then great. I'll do something else. But I'm also conscious that I want to make sure everything is done and dusted by the end of February, which it will be. Don't worry about that. We will get all 3 of those done, and hopefully I'll be able to throw something on top. But I don't want to promise that in case life has its claws on me once again, which is always threatening to do. But regardless, I think it'll be some cool titles to experience, and good old nostalgia wave back at the turn of the millennium for the next couple of months. So that brings us to the Twitch channel, which has seen a bit of activity over the past few months or so. The most of that over the past couple of months has been spent on Hades 2, a game that I have been incredibly enjoying since it got its full release a couple of months or so back. It is not a series that is not done yet, because it turns out Hades 2 is a massive game. It's significantly bigger than I thought it was going to be, which is kind of wild. But regardless, I've sort of had a whole really, really good time of it. You know, it's just anyone who knows anything about, you know, supermassive games and, you know, the Hades series as a whole will know that this is a quality title and it's just a whole lot of fun. I did do a series of the original game, which went onto YouTube a few years or so ago. When I heard the second game was coming out, I was obviously really excited, and it's been great. It's just the fact that it turns out that it's Hades 2, and then there's a whole third game about going to the overworld that you play interspersed with the second game. It's insane how huge this game is and all the stuff you can get into. It's wild. I still feel like I'm about like 35 hours or something into this. We've done maybe 5 or 6 streams of this. They've all been about 5-6 hours long. And it's just like the amount of stuff I feel like I'm still not doing yet is just insane. But I am also conscious of the fact that I do kind of need to get this game done. There are other things that I want to do on the Twitch channel. I do enjoy doing it. You know, folks enjoy me broadcasting via it as well. And, you know, Hades 2, for all of its greatness, is not everyone's pick of choice. So I definitely do want to kind of move on from this. So hopefully this will be done in the next couple of streams or so. I am going to be streaming on Friday this week with more Hades 2. And I don't actually think I'm that far away from beating the game. We have the I want to get the true ending of the game, and I don't think I'm too far away from that. So with all that being said, the next series I'm planning to do on Twitch is not going to be super short either, but, well, this is another series that is coming off the Patreon list. This one courtesy of Mr. Chug Stoogins, who not only has been a supporter on my Patreon, but also full out sponsored a series as well, which was acquired during my time spent during Demon Souls Remaster. And it is a game that's very close to his heart, and definitely one that has a bit of significance to mine. We're going to be heading back to 2008, and we are heading back to the Capital Wasteland. It is one of the most famous games of its generation. That is Fallout 3, Bethesda's first step into the post-apocalyptic wastelands that was first created by Black Isle Studios. I remember very vividly when this game came out and was about to be released, and the impact that this had on kind of the gaming world around it was insane. Like there was just advertising for it everywhere. Like you couldn't go anywhere near like a game shop without just seeing advertising for this being around, and rightly so. Fallout 3 is definitely regarded as like one of the greatest games I think of its generation. A whole number of Game of the Year awards at the time, possibly one of the best games ever made, quite frankly. And yes, you could maybe make a couple of arguments about Bethesda's overall direction that they took with the Fallout series, but that was none of that existed back in 2008 when this begun. Now, those of you who have been around on the channel may well be aware that I have indeed done series for Fallouts 1 and 2 on this channel. Fallout 1, I believe, was a local recorded series. Fallout 2 ended up doing live stream, and this I'm going to be doing live as well. I don't think I've played this game in about a decade. I might be a bit rusty. As rusty as my power armor is that's sitting in the cupboard, but regardless, any time to kind of touch upon a game that was as impactful as this, I think is something that is I'm really looking forward to. It should be a lot of fun, and something with doing games like Fallout and doing them live as well is that there is the opportunity for the live interaction to come along for the journey and inevitably probably try and influence a couple of decisions that I may or may not opt to take. And we can definitely play around with that. Something I've also done as well with my Fallout series is I've always tried to go for kind of very theme-heavy runs of the characters that we're running. So in Fallout 1, we were a character, obviously, that had been just isolated in the vault and was woefully unprepared for the events and situations they were going to be thrown into in the Wasteland. Fallout 2 started off quite a very melee-heavy build to go along with kind of the tribal nature of our character's origination. I'm not sure yet what I have planned for Fallout 3. I will have a little bit of think about it. I've got a few weeks to still kind of come up with that. But it should be a lot of laughs as well. I am going to get hold of the full edition as well that has access to all of the DLC stuff. I don't know whether I'll actually touch on the DLC. Fallout 3 on its own is still a pretty lengthy game, and definitely one that my memory, again, is not the best of, truth be told. But I have many memories of my time in Vault 101, and it will be a joy to return to it once more. So that is pretty much the plan then for the next little while for the channel. I am definitely looking forward to getting my teeth into some of these titles, and of course Requiem coming in February. I'd like to think that what's on offer is hopefully of some interest to some of you guys. I haven't had a whole lot of chance to do a lot of really old stuff. Obviously, I came back. I did, Silent Hill Origins shortly, and then we did Silent Hill F. And before that, the channel was dormant basically the entire year. So it's been a while since I've done some really kind of older stuff. And definitely that period, sort of like 1998 to 2000 is just such a great period of gaming. That's old me, grey-haired shadow now can only fondly remember and say, oh, back in my day, when I used to have a memory card that was 8 megabytes big. Yeah, those were the days. Anyway, if you are interested, we do also have a channel Discord as well, which I'll hover over here. A link in the description below. If you'd like to come along, it'd be much appreciated to have your company. It's always nice to be able to chat with more of you guys a bit more properly. I try to be as active as I can. It can be a bit hit or miss sometimes, but I also do post all times for streams on Twitch, so you can go ahead and make sure you know when the next event is going to be on regards to that, as well as us kind of musing about future series and other topics that come up across the community. But that's going to be pretty much it for this one. So I will thank you for your company and time. Trying to get up to anything too outrageous this winter period. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Again, I will be a little touch and go, admittedly, but I definitely think that what I've got on offer, I can certainly fulfill over the next couple of months or so, and it'll be just great just to A, do some stuff that I've never done before, and B, once we get through Hades 2, getting my feet back into the world of Fallout, which I haven't done for quite some time, will be a lot of fun. As I say, I will need to think about what kind of theme I'm going for, the story that I want to tell in Fallout on top of the story that actually goes on in the game. And if anyone's got any ideas for stuff like that, please feel free to throw them out. I'm always interested to see what people think about builds and just kind of ways to start the game. But, well, I got a couple of weeks at least, so there's that. Thank you much for listening, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And if I don't see you soon, have a good Christmas and New Year's, and we'll, at the very least, hopefully, see you in the new year for Requiem. Have a good one, everyone.